Am I live now on YouTube? Oh, I think now I'm live on YouTube. Let me check very quickly.
Oh, yes.
Yes, but the video title is wrong. How can I change the title? I cannot change the video title? Ah, here. Sorry. And today is about the windmill, not the air flare. Yesterday it was about the air flare. So today I'm gonna react to windmill tutorials on YouTube. I saved some tutorials in my playlist. Is it the correct title now? Let me refresh. Oh yes, now it's correct. Okay, so I will start again from Pygmy tutorial because it's the first tutorial that appear on my YouTube page. Very popular tutorial, 5.8 million views. And then I'm gonna go over Vincani TV, and then some other guys. Some of them I don't even know them. For example, Vitality and Breakdancing Ninja. I'm not sure if I know these channels. And some of the other channels are channels that probably you guys already know. And by the way, if you're struggling to learn the windmill, you can check out the PDF guide that I created about windmill or even flares, air flares and swipes. And you can find them in the video description. If you don't see the video description in this live, you can just go on my channel. You will find the links on any other video description or on my links. Let's start. Windmill tutorial from Pygmy.
With practice and mental preparation, this tutorial will teach you step by step how to do windmills.
Wait, let me check his form again.
Step by step how to do windmills.
Okay, his legs and hips form. His legs and hips form is pretty good. What I don't like about his form, and also many people form, is that they don't keep the head on the floor the whole time. To me, it's a mistake. Some people, for them, it's just a normal windmill, but it doesn't look smooth in my opinion. And also it's a little bit risky because you are risking to bump your head on the floor, to hit your head on the floor in every round of the windmill. If your head is on the floor the whole time, it's impossible to hit your head on the floor because the head is just rolling on the floor. But if you lift it up and then lean it, lift it up and then lean it, you have the risk of doing like this on the floor, you know. So here, as you can see, his head on the floor, his forehead, kind of like this part. For me, I would prefer putting a little bit upper, maybe, but also here it's still okay, actually. And here, as you can see, he's lifting up the head off the floor. It's not needed. Actually, it would be better to leave the head down on the floor. It will make the windmill way smoother.
Step by step.
And here he placed the head on the floor again, for a brief moment, and here he's already lifting it up. His hips are also a little bit low. I would put them slightly higher. And here, as you can see, the neck and the head are not relaxed. So he's doing like this in a windmill. In a windmill, actually, we are supposed to keep the head relaxed on the floor, kind of like we are sleeping, you know? We should pretend that we are just laying on the floor and just sleeping. But many people just, they are so stiff, they contract and they do like this in a windmill, kind of like he's doing now. But it will make the windmill more stiff and less smooth. But his leg shape is pretty good. The legs are very wide and very well open, and he's not scissoring the legs or doing anything weird with the legs. So the legs and also the bounce of the legs is very good. So by bounce of the legs, I mean like how he's pulling the legs towards the chest like this, and then bouncing or pushing them out.
With practice and mental preparation, this tutorial will teach you step by step how to do windmills.
But you gotta focus.
Be sure to warm up before practicing. Flexibility does help with...
Pancake is the most important stretch for the windmill, and I would say the only stretch that you need for the windmill. You don't need any other flexibility exercise for the windmill. You only need the pancake, this stretching that he's doing now. For the flare, it's the same. You also need this one exercise, the pancake, but plus you also need the shoulder extension. For windmill only, this one is already enough, because in windmill we don't use the arms so much, just the arms are just a support, but then you can remove the arms pretty easily. So you don't need to have any flexibility on your arms or upper body for the windmill, just the pancake, just this stretch here.
This move, the seated straddle, is a great stretch to help
We
develop
call it
flexibility for
seated straddle. Seated straddle. I call it pancake, but it's the same.
windmills. Also, any stretches that help the wrists, the legs, the shoulders are recommended.
Shoulder actually is not needed. Is very useful for the flare. This stretch that he's doing here is a type of shoulder extension stretch. Not the best shoulder extension, because here the range of movement is a little bit limited. You cannot go too high. I would rather prefer like the sitting shoulder extension, because by sitting you can slide your butt forward as much as you want. So you can create this angle, can be much more. In this position it can go only around 90 degree, but it cannot go much higher than 90 degree because you are blocked. You cannot move. It's so hard to move more than that in this position. But yeah, this is not necessary for the windmill. Now we are talking more about the flare or even the air flare a little bit.
Let's get started with the prerequisites. Honestly, to learn windmills, you don't really need any prerequisites other than being in general shape and, in my opinion, a simple backspin. But we're going to learn a simple backspin right now.
Of course, you need a simple backspin, but I would say you need some freezes for the windmill. And so you need some prerequisites actually. The prerequisites, in my opinion, are of course the backspin, and of course the backspin must be done in the same direction as the windmill. Otherwise it doesn't make sense. Then the step freeze also in the same direction as the windmill. So for example, if you do the backspin clockwise, the step freeze should be on the right side. If you do the backspin counterclockwise, the step freeze should be on the left side. And I wouldn't learn only one step freeze, but I will learn two different step freezes. One is the turtle freeze, which is stepping with the elbow close to your belly button, the side of your belly button. This is the turtle freeze. Second is the side freeze, where your elbow is stepping the side of your body. So not close to the belly button anymore, but a little more turned to the side. So you need these two freezes for the windmill. If you cannot do a proper side freeze, your windmill will look not so clean, in my opinion, by using only the turtle freeze, because it means if you cannot do the side freeze, it means that in the windmill you will have hard time to kind of like opening up the arm and the shoulder when you are gonna throw yourself from the freeze to the back.
Because it's one of the steps in learning a windmill. So let's get started.
Oh, and also I would recommend shoulder freezes on both sides. Actually, in a real proper windmill, we are not using the shoulder freezes at all. We are not using our shoulders so much, just our upper back. But shoulder freezes are very useful to learn the posture of the windmill and how to keep your head on the floor, and also how to keep the hips up all the time. So if you can do good turtle freeze, good side freeze, good shoulder freezes on both sides, and good backspin, everything in the same direction, beside the shoulder freezes that need to be both directions, then you will have a very good overall body control to be able to do the windmill. You will already know how to keep your hips up in the windmill. If you have a good backspin, you already can generate enough momentum for the windmill. And the step freeze will make you have a lot of control in the starting position and in the catching position also.
Learning windmills. Step number 1, you're going to choose a way that you want to spin. Imagine a clock on the ground. I spin towards my left shoulder. That's counterclockwise. A lot of people like to spin clockwise. So if you like to spin the other way, then just use opposite arms and legs that I described in this video. But if you're spinning counterclockwise, you and me are alike. Before we learn the windmill, we need to learn the backspin. And before we learn the backspin, it's beneficial to learn the butt spin. It's a lot easier and will help us learn how to channel our momentum into a circle. So sit down on your butt on the ground. I'm placing my left hand down because I go counterclockwise. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to kick my right leg out past my left leg. And then, as I bring my left leg in, this is going to create that momentum. Simultaneously pushing off the ground with my...
Actually, this move, the butt spin, is very underrated. I should also be teaching the butt spin more in my backspin or in my windmill tutorials. I didn't think about this, but props to Pygmy. I think it's good. It's a good idea because it's even easier than the backspin, so I would consider it like a first approach on the backspin and even first approach for the windmill. Being able to spin on your butt really make you understand the dynamic of the movement in a wrong posture, okay, but the dynamic is the same. So basically, if you can do this move, then the backspin will become easier, and if the backspin will become easier, also the windmill will become easier. So it's a good idea.
Left arm, and I bring my left leg in after throwing my right leg over.
But of course, you need this move only if you are really like a beginner. If you are already practicing the windmill by itself, you can already do a proper backspin. You don't need this move at all.
Creates momentum. Sounds like a lot's going on, but it's really easy to pay close attention. When you initiate your spin, tighten your core, bring your knees to your chest. You'll notice that you spin faster when you bring it in closer. Bring it and pull it out, just experiment around with this. This will really help you understand the whole momentum concept when it comes to these b-boy power moves. Honestly, is the key to learning more advanced movements. So with that being said, let's learn a slightly more advanced movement, the backspin. So all we're going to be doing to turn this butt spin into a backspin is you're actually going to roll on your back. Roll on your back after you kick, not straight down the middle per se, but actually on a diagonal to the upper shoulders. This helps the movement be a lot more smooth and makes it more comfortable to spin on the ground on your back. So just practice a simple roll from opposite leg to opposite shoulder. The leg towards the way which you are spinning. So as you remember, I'm spinning counterclockwise, so I'm going towards my left leg, so I'm going from my left leg to my right shoulder. Now all you need to do is the same kick and push that you did for the butt spin, but roll from the opposite leg to the upper shoulders, and you'll be in the backspin position, spinning on your back. Bring your knees to your chest, and you'll notice you spin a little bit faster, a little bit tighter. Practice this a few times, get at least like one spin, and then you're ready to move on. Alright, we're going to take a break from our backs and move to our front. You're going to learn the simple turtle freeze. You want to take the arm towards the way you spin, so I go counterclockwise, so I'm taking my left arm. You're going to bring it in, tuck it in, armpit tight, and then bring it in towards your belly button. Now what you want to do with the other arm is you want to put it out in front to the side. It can be around the shoulder height, anywhere that's comfortable for you. Then you want to tighten the core and get on the ground in this position, but keep your toes on the ground for now. Just like that. Before we take our feet off, we want to learn the simple drop-in motion with the arms. This helps us roll to our shoulders in the windmill and helps us understand the movement. So since I spin towards my left, I'm actually going to pull my left arm in.
Okay, here we are getting to the core of the tutorial. First is just more like prerequisites and starting position. Now I think he's gonna start explaining the windmill. It would be more interesting.
And push away with my right arm. So that's going to help drop me down to my shoulder smoothly. So get in the turtle freeze position. Take your left leg, put it underneath your right leg. Then you're going to flex your left arm so that you roll down onto your upper shoulder and roll sideways. So left arm
Yeah,
tight
that's
body.
good. The only thing I would change, I would tell people to stay with their head on the floor already in this step, so they get used to relax their head down on the floor. But anything else that he's explaining is pretty good actually.
Left leg under the right leg, tighten the left arm, roll, push slightly with your right hand away. Try to roll on your upper shoulders, although it might not look pretty because your feet are still on the ground for now. But that is perfect because you are learning the arm motion for the windmill. You can even increase the speed a little bit. Now we're going to learn this from the turtle freeze without our toes touching. So you want to get into the turtle freeze position, lean forward, you can even touch your head, and lift your toes off the ground. If you need to bend your legs a little bit at first, it's okay. Try to do this comfortably for at least a few seconds. So just like before, you're going to want to take your left leg and try to put it underneath your right leg. But you want to do it this time without your toes touching. So in order to do so, you might want to rotate a little bit more at the hips and keep those legs tight.
Okay, here he is explaining to go directly from the turtle freeze to the back. In my personal opinion, I wouldn't do it like this because for some people it may work if they are pretty flexible already, but many people who don't have enough flexibility on their legs will scissor their legs if they try to do like this, and it will be so hard for them to keep the legs widely open and to go on their back properly. So in my opinion, before to teach that, I would only teach the turtle freeze to side freeze transition. So without even going to the back, just moving from the turtle freeze and getting to the side by moving the legs and the hips at the same time. And both legs should move together, so not swinging and not scissoring, but moving together at the same time, so they stay wide the whole time in this way, and not like this, you know, not like this, but moving together like this. And first, this is very necessary in my opinion. And then from the side freeze, you should be able to push to the back. So not really from the turtle freeze, but when you are more to the side freeze to make the form a little bit cleaner. So here in this frame, he's not really going fully to a side freeze, but he's already but almost. With his hips and with his legs, he's almost like in a side freeze position, but with the arm, he's already pushing down. I think also if you learn how to do the turtle freeze to side freeze, it will be easier to keep the head down on the floor, because pushing directly from the turtle freeze is too much of a jump, you know? You need to jump too much. It's kind of like teaching the air flare from the handstand and not from the pike freeze or from the hand up position. So you should imagine the air flare like a handstand to pike freeze, you know? But the way he is explaining here, turtle freeze to back, is kind of like telling to do the air flare handstand and then from the handstand directly jump for an air flare, you know? You need one more step in my opinion. So you need this side freeze or this pike freeze step more.
Everything else is the same, everyone.
Yeah, here his head is pretty up and his hips are very low. If he does the side freeze first, his hips will be higher and his head will be down on the floor. So it will make the form a little bit cleaner.
Flex the left arm, bring it in close, roll to the upper shoulders, push away slightly with the right arm. Work up.
Yeah, here is very low. Actually, it's okay. For the first times you train the windmill, the first attempts, it's okay to be so low. Just to understand the dynamic of the movement is still okay. Some people even try the windmill by going on their butt in each round. I never learned it like this, but I saw some people, they learn it in this way. So basically from the turtle freeze or from the side freeze, they put their butt down on the floor, kind of like sitting on the floor, but with the legs up, kind of like he's doing here, but with the head even higher actually, with the head around here actually. So they're just sitting on their butt and then they're turning and catching the freeze again and then sitting on their butt again and so on. In this way they understand the dynamic of the windmill, but the posture is very wrong. So, but they can fix the posture over time. So it's still a good way. Personally, I wouldn't teach it in this way. I would prefer to stick to the right posture immediately from the beginning and to use the freezes a little more, to even use the shoulder freeze and the shoulder freeze on the other side. And because for me, in this case, you will learn like really the correct form. But for some people, it can also work this way by sitting on their butt a little more.
Make it smooth. All right, you're almost there. Now we're just going to go back to our back and we're going to learn how to turn our momentum over so we can get back up. And then we're going to tie it all together and you're going to be windmilling around town. It's going to be awesome. So just like before, I'm going to be rolling from my left leg to my right shoulder. You want to have your left arm in the turtle freeze position. Your right arm, however, you actually want to be tucked in. Think about an invisible ramp from your right forearm to your left palm. So when you roll over, it's smooth. Helps you get up gradually. And then after that, that's when you open.
Oh, this is interesting. How he explained the arm posture is pretty interesting. I never explained in this way. I should give props to him because he is explaining very clearly and it makes sense. I was just watching this video recently. Oh, nice.
Right arm up and push away. Look very carefully at the right arm. First, it allows me to roll up into my turtle freeze position, and then it opens.
He's really leaning his elbow on the floor. I've seen people doing the windmill in this way, leaning on the elbow a lot. For me, I don't lean on the elbow at all. So for me, I catch first on the step freeze, and then I place my left hand on the floor. So in his case, if I do it on the same direction as him, when I turn, let's say from the back or from the shoulder freeze to the stab freeze, for me, I would catch first, and then after catching, this hand is kind of like in the air, and then is moving and is catching too, you know? So I catch 1, 2, In his form, he catches on his elbow first, and then he goes to the freeze. None of this form is right or wrong. I mean, both of them are right. And you can see some b-boys performing one form, some other b-boys perform another form. Actually, some b-boys who have a very, very good windmill, like b-boy Hide from Japan, for example, I really like his windmill. He also uses this form by using the elbow, and also Silil, for example. Usually, people who use this form by using their elbow are also people who don't use their head on the floor too much. Or maybe they are not even using the head on the floor at all. Some b-boys, like b-boy Hide, for example, even though he has a crazy windmill, he's never leaning the head on the floor while doing the windmill. So basically, if he doesn't lean the head on the floor, he need to use the elbow and the hand to have, to lean somewhere, you know? I don't know how to say. For me, I don't need it, maybe because I lean on the head a little more, so I have more space here. So as you can see here, his hips are not so high. For me, I stay a little bit higher, so I have more space, and I use this space created by my head to wait a little longer and then to catch a little later, you know? It's all about timing and it's all about form. You can try both ways, and you can use the one that fits you best.
And it helps me push into a second windmill. Alright, so now you basically know it all, so let's do it all. But let's do it all slow, so let's keep our feet on the ground at first, just so you can get used to what's going on. Start as if you were going to do a backspin. Roll from your left leg to your right shoulder, keeping your legs out solid. Notice how I'm not drastically folding my legs or anything like that, just a very subtle twist of the hips. Using your right forearm so you can roll up the ramp to your left arm in the turtle freeze position. You can put your feet down in these early steps. Collapse the left arm, roll onto the left shoulder. Keep the legs tight, hips tight, and you just did your first hacked mill. Yeah, your feet were touching, but don't worry, in just a second we're gonna get those feet off the ground. Alright, so here's a little exercise that's gonna help you get over to your arms without your feet touching. A simple little hip hop like this. I want you to do the roll from the opposite leg to the opposite shoulder as you were going to do a windmill.
I feel head on the ground part toughest. Which, you mean in the back or in the front part, or both? Head on the floor actually is easier than people think. All you need to do is really relax your neck muscles, because many people stiffen the neck muscles while doing the windmill. So that's why their head is up. So when you are on the freeze, it's pretty easy to lean your head down on the floor. But then as soon as they go down on their back, they stiffen the neck muscle, so their chin is tucked in. In the windmill, the chin doesn't need to be tucked in. If you do like a walkover air flare, then you need to do this movement with the chin. But if you do a windmill, you can stay completely relaxed with your head on the floor. And it makes the windmill smoother, in my opinion. And it's also easier to learn the barrel windmill and the very fast and smooth windmill that some people do. For me, it's also called the barrel windmill, but some people call it in another way. Maybe some people call it magnet, or maybe it has another name, but I don't remember at the moment.
But when you go up to your shoulders, you want to pop your hips a little bit like this. When you eventually do windmills full speed, you're going to be doing this. It'll be a little more subtle, but it's a good idea to exaggerate and practice this, especially if you are having trouble getting...
Yeah, this is very good advice. I would also recommend to practice this little hop from the back before attempting the windmill to really understand how to push. I would even recommend to practice the hopped backspin. So doing a backspin, and while spinning in a backspin, try to hop with your knees, you know, and doing at least 3 hops or even more. If you cannot do at least 3 hops, it means you don't have enough momentum in the backspin, or you don't have enough power to hop. So you need both. You need to have enough momentum, and also you need to have enough power to keep hopping in the backspin multiple times. This will guarantee that you will also have enough power to have good momentum in the windmill and to hop in the windmill in order to catch properly again without dropping your feet down on the floor.
Getting over to your arms without touching your feet. This is the secret. This is the key. Now, all together for your first windmill, over and out. Start as if you were doing a simple backspin, but when you get to your upper shoulders, you want to turn over. You do this by giving yourself that simple hip hop like I just showed you, combined with first letting your legs getting a little bit in front of your upper body and then jumping your upper body in front of your legs, rolling onto the ramp you create with your right forearm and your left palm, and then once you get in the turtle freeze position, you allow your legs to meet up with your upper body, and then lead ahead, pulling you back into your second windmill. It might sound complicated like a lot, but all you're really doing is you're continually generating momentum.
Okay, here he's showing he's going to kind of like a shoulder freeze. So this is basically like a shoulder freeze. And then from here he's catching to the turtle freeze. I would explain the same thing, but with the feet up in the air, both of them. Why? Because many people struggle so much on this step, on the catching part. And they have the bad habit to keep this foot low and they drop this foot down on the floor. To avoid this, you should learn how to go from the backspin to a shoulder freeze and from the shoulder freeze to catch in a turtle freeze without dropping your feet. You can even practice this transition as a freeze combination. So basically starting from the back without any momentum, you can just start on your back. From the back, pushing up with your core muscles and with your hips and with your legs, up to the shoulder freeze, and from the shoulder freeze turn a little bit and catch on the turtle freeze. This is very important to learn how to avoid dropping the feet down on the floor, because if you just practice this step without practicing the shoulder freeze in the middle, a proper shoulder freeze, I mean, with the feet both up in the air, then it's going to be very likely that you will drop one or maybe even both feet down on the ground. So to avoid that, really practice shoulder freezes. Do you have video on this? Yes, I also explained the windmill in this way. Later in this live stream, I'm gonna react to my own videos where I show this step, this movement that I'm telling you. But basically it's the same. It's the same like he's showing here. Just imagine this foot is up in the air. So basically you're doing a shoulder freeze. This is already a shoulder freeze, but his foot is down on the floor. So basically just do this step, but this leg, keep it a little lower with the foot here, in this way here, and this foot should be around here, okay? So basically one foot here, the leg, and the other leg here, kind of like this, depending on your flexibility, of course, on the legs. And then when doing this transition, turning the head on the other side, so now he's turning his head, and then catching, but without dropping the foot, because dropping the foot like this will make you have a bad habit. You need to learn how to keep the feet up in the air.
Is you're continually generating momentum by allowing your legs to slightly get ahead of your upper body, and then jumping in front of your legs with your upper body, and then allowing those legs once again to whip back and get ahead of your upper body. Continuing that on and on and on, that's how you get momentum, that's how you continue the windmills over and over and over. When doing windmills, using your head in the turtle freeze position can help, so if you are going to use your head to ramp up onto, just be sure you don't slam it. Go smoothly. Now, to do continuous windmills, all you have to do is think about keeping that momentum flowing. It's as simple as that. A piece of advice I have for people learning this is don't think about it as like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windmills. Just think about it as one continuous motion. You're just trying to keep that momentum going and going and going by getting those legs in front of the upper body, then bringing the upper body over in front of those legs, and then whipping, and then so on and so on and so on. Keeping your whole body tight, by that I mean flexing the abs, keeping the arms tucked in, having those legs out. You're controlling all your muscles. You're feeling where everything's at. Also notice, once I really get going, I'm not really pausing too much in the turtle freeze position. In fact, I'm actually just pushing my way through. This will totally happen once you get that feeling for the momentum down. You'll be able to control it any way you want, even be able to go into no-handed mills if you choose to do so. And the secret to developing that momentum is literally all the way in the beginning when we started practicing those butt spins. If you can understand that, you'll understand how to use that to help your mills get faster, snappier, prettier.
Yeah, one thing I really recommend when learning windmills, as soon as you can do more than 5 windmills by using the freeze, just try to kick harder and add more momentum. This will really make you improve your form. But of course, also focus on details. So for example, if the legs are too bent and you don't like it, or if the legs are scissoring, or the head is not on the floor the whole time, fix these issues first and then add more momentum.
And eventually you can have barrel mills, munch mills like this, any other form you want. It's all about practice. So in a full recap, my lower body is getting slightly in front of my upper body, then right when I jump over to my face, I get my upper body just a little bit in front of my lower body, then I whip my lower body back around. Rolling to the back, up to the shoulder, up to the front, up to the hands. You just keep it going like that. And that's how you go from nothing to a simple butt spin to windmills, step by step. I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Okay. Yeah, pretty good tutorial actually. I like it. The only thing I don't like it's about the head not staying on the floor. But I know this is pretty rare, unfortunately, because in my opinion, any b-boy who do a very good windmill should always keep the head down on the floor the whole time, or alternatively, never letting the head staying on the floor, not a mix. So what I don't like is leaning the head and lifting up the head, leaning the head and lifting up the head. If the head is all the time up, I like it. If the head is all the time down, I like it too. But this kind of mix, I don't like it. Let's go Vinsanity. I think he also does the windmill in this way, but I'm not sure. 14 years ago, so old tutorial, 5.8 million views. Under a lot of my flare tutorials, there are a lot of people writing in the comments, this is not flare, this is windmills. Now that I'm seeing this intro, it makes me think, oh, what if they see this intro of Insanity and they see this move, the flare, and they think, oh, this is the windmill. I don't know why so many people think the flare is called windmill. Point, he doesn't talk about any prerequisite or about any freeze, it just goes straight to the windmill. If he already made some previous tutorials where he explained like the prerequisite for the windmill, I can understand. Otherwise, I would first talk a little bit about the prerequisites and then I will start explaining the windmill.
Onto our hand, and in my case, this is my left hand.
For the whole time, prerequisite that I forgot to mention before is being able to do a little bit of a hand glide, or maybe some people call it hand spin. This will give you the starting momentum of the windmill, because in the windmill you need to spin. If you just try from the totter freeze or from the side freeze to drop down to the back, you will go straight in a straight line, you know, if you don't have enough momentum. But you need to be able to turn a little bit in a hand spin kind of like position or hand glide kind of position, and then from this pose, from this spinning movement, you should kick and continue in a... Yeah, very nice advice to tuck the shoulder in. Actually, the shoulder movement is just pushing up like this. So trying to almost push like you want to go in an elbow freeze. From a totter freeze or side freeze, you want to push up and almost go into an elbow freeze. When you do this kind of movement with your arm and then you give enough rotation also, the shoulder will automatically, naturally, a little bit tuck in. Or maybe not really the shoulder, but the whole upper body will twist a little bit, so you will not land on the shoulder. But giving like an extra tuck like this of the shoulder can help, so it's a very good tip. Is it possible to learn windmill in home from only YouTube? Of course, many people learn this way. Of course it's possible. Okay, about his windmill, I like that he's never touching the head on the floor. As I said before, for me there are only two options. Head always on the floor, or second, head never on the floor. What Pygmy did before, and many b-boys do, is like leaning and lifting. This I don't like. But in his case, he doesn't do like this. He's just keeping the head all the time, even in the totter freeze, as you can see. The head is not touching the floor at all. So in this case, it still looks clean. It's just another technique. It's just another form, but it looks clean. Otherwise, it looks like an accident that you're dropping your head on the floor and you really change the form. What happened? Here. And he started touching with the head on the floor. I don't know why he changed the form like this. Now it doesn't look clean anymore. Okay, let's move on. I will react to some other guys that I never seen. I think. Maybe I seen, but I don't remember. Did he rush video? Yeah, this video was a little too short and a little rush. He didn't talk about the prerequisites. Vitali, 5 years ago. Vitality, sorry. Over 300,000 views. Pretty good.
What's up everybody and welcome to a new tutorial. Today I will show
Oh, he's also using the same form as Pygmy. He's also doing the same mistake, hand on the floor and head up.
you can do the
Head on the
windmill
floor and head up.
in 3 simple steps. And no, I'm
Why so many people do this mistake? I think because the first b-boys that did the windmill back in the days, they didn't care so much about the form. They just did the windmill. So they didn't pay attention on this detail about the head. So for them, they don't even consider this as a mistake. They just consider this the normal windmill, you know. But later on, when breaking started evolving, and when more transitions were unlocked, like double windmills, windmill to head spins, windmill to halos, and stuff like that, you can clearly feel and clearly notice that when your head is glued to the floor, when you do windmills, you have much more control and much more smoothness of the windmill to be able to do transitions like windmill to head spin or double halos, double windmills, or even windmill variations like munch mills, tombstone windmills. In this kind of variations, if the head is always on the floor, everything will be easier, you know. So it's very worth investing your time. If you want to learn windmill variations, it's really, really worth it to invest the time in learning how to keep the head on the floor the whole time rather than lifting it up. Otherwise, it's going to be so hard to do variations like tombstone windmills, for example.
not talking about these windmills, but about one of the basic power moves we have in breakdancing or b-boying. So let's get started.
Oh, he also does calisthenics. Ooh, pretty strong.
Before we start, I want to say that the windmill is not a prerequisite, but the prerequisite for many other pole moves.
As you can see also when he does munch mill, his head is bouncing off and on the floor. I don't like it so much, it's not so smooth.
For example, munch mills or tombstones. But
Oh, he can do 2 rounds of tombstone. Let me see
For
again.
example, munch mills or
But as you can see, when he does tombstone, his head is staying on the floor the whole time.
tombstones.
It's very hard to do tombstones by lifting up the head.
But
You're gonna
for any
immediately
other
lose the
pole moves.
momentum if
For
you lift up the
example,
head.
munch mills or
So as you can see
tombstones.
here, the
But
head
of
is up.
course, other
Probably
pole
he cannot
moves.
do more than
For
2
example,
rounds because
munch
of this
mills or
form.
tombstones.
If you learn the windmill and the munch mill correctly with the head glued to the floor, also the tombstone windmill for him will be much
But
better.
of course, other pole moves as well. So before you immediately start with more advanced pole moves,
Also the transition here
So
between
before
windmill to head spin was not so smooth.
you immediately start with more advanced pole moves, I definitely highly recommend that you learn the windmill first. Not only does it teach you the right swinging motion with your legs, but it also gives you a lot of strength, core strength especially, and body tension. The good thing about this move is you do not need many prerequisites. The windmill does not require too much strength, but a bit flexibility. Let's say it like that.
Yes,
No,
this is true. You don't need any strength, I would say, for the windmill. Maybe just a little bit of leg strength, just the hip flexors, muscles, and a little bit core strength you need. Yeah, this is all you need for the windmill.
no matter how flexible you are, you will be able to learn the windmill. But the more flexible you are, the easier it
You
will
show like a wrong windmill if you don't have flexibility. Yeah, for people who don't have enough flexibility, they will have this kind of issue in the windmill. They will scissor the legs like this, like a L shape, like this, instead of staying in a V shape. As you can see, the legs are a little bit weird now, and this leg is going out. Instead of pulling it close to the shoulder, he's pulling it out. Now I think he's doing it on purpose to show like what happens if you are not so flexible. And yeah, I've seen this so much.
But the more flexible you are, the easier.
This actually can happen also if you are very flexible in the front split, but you're not flexible in the middle split. So if the front split is much better than your middle split, this can also happen because the legs will naturally go in a comfortable position for them. So if the legs are not comfortable in staying in a V shape, they will start going in a L shape more, or in a front split position shape. It depends on your degree of flexibility. So for power moves, it's really recommended to work on the middle split much more than the front splits. The front splits in breaking are almost useless. Also, only maybe if you use it for your own style and you have your own style that you need to use the front split for some things, then okay, practice the front splits. But if you are a power mover, I would say you don't need to practice the front splits at all. You just need to practice the middle split. The front split can only mess up your power move form, because then if you get too comfortable in the front splits, then your legs in the power moves will start scissoring.
Will be able to learn the windmill, but the more flexible you are, the easier it will be. But please don't worry about such things too much. As I started, I was as flexible as a whale, but at the end of the day I still learned it, so no excuses. But definitely there are some moves which will shorten the time of learning the windmill. One of them is the so-called turtle freeze, and the other one is the backspin. I left the tutorials for both moves in the description below. There are of course many ways how you can learn the windmill, but today I will show you two ways which are, in my opinion, the fastest ones. And both ways can be divided in 3 simple steps. Let's talk about the first one, the, let's say, classy way. Warning, I do everything clockwise. If you feel more comfortable the other way around, feel free to do that. Simply mirror everything I do. A quick reminder, on my channel it's all about fitness and science. I'm uploading tutorials, workouts and always useful information, so don't forget to subscribe.
Is he from Germany? His accent is very German.
Of course, before you do the move, don't forget to warm up, and especially your wrists. I also recommend that you have some clothes which cover at least your shoulders, as otherwise you might hurt yourself a bit. And it's also easier for
Yeah, this is good tip actually. I always forget to mention in my tutorials, but yeah, the first times you practice the windmill, it's very recommended to not wear only a t-shirt or a tank top, but to wear a hoodie or something a little bit softer, and to practice on a very smooth floor. Otherwise, yeah, you can burn your skin or hurt your skin.
Therefore, a good ground is also always recommendable. In the first step, you go into this turtle freeze position. I put my right elbow in the center of my body while the fingers face to the feet. And at the same time, my left arm...
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I guess he does like that to have a little bit more momentum, more turn. For me, I place my hand sideways, not like him. But yeah, maybe it's useful to place it a little bit backwards like he does, to have a little bit more momentum. So I think this is a good tip actually.
Is above the body and supports. Whenever you're ready, you have to stretch out both legs completely and open them at the same time. Try different freezes and positions with your legs so that you feel really comfortable. And this
is also a good advice. Don't immediately practice the windmill if you can only do the turtle freeze. Learn some other variations of the turtle freeze and the side freeze as well, and then practice the windmill. If you're not comfortable enough to do variations of the turtle freeze or the side freeze, it means you will have very hard times to catch the windmill the first round, because from the windmill, from a dynamic movement, you need to catch into a static position, you know. But in order to do it, you need a very good control on the static position. Otherwise, you will fall or your feet will drop on the floor.
is now very important.
What is the problem if I can hop when I'm still on my back, but when I spin, I just can't hop, so I can land on my legs? What do you mean exactly? Like, you mean like you can do hopped backspin, or you can hop when you are on the back, but then if you try to turn in a windmill, then you cannot really hop? So what does it mean? That you try to hop, but then you fall with your feet on the floor, or what exactly? Can you explain me a little bit more specifically?
You have to open your legs as wide as you can. Trust me, the more open you can bring your legs, the easier the windmill will be. And here we immediately come to step number 2. And now comes the difficult part.
Okay, here he basically showed the Tara freeze to side freeze, but he's swinging this leg down a little bit. So here I would explain the same step as well, but this leg should stay up more, should stay close to the side or the shoulder more, because in the windmill we never want to scissor. If for example now he will push to the windmill, this leg will probably drop down too much, you know? And also his hips are gonna drop down, because if the leg and if the foot is dropping down, the hips are also gonna drop down. In order to not drop down the hips and the legs, you need to kick the feet towards your shoulders. So this foot should be towards this shoulder, this other foot should be towards this other shoulder, you know.
And also the part where you will hurt yourself the most. A good turtle freeze is the foundation of this move, so make sure to do that properly.
Yes. When I'm on my back without spin, I can hop, but when I spin, I can't land on the floor. You can't land on the floor. What do you mean you can't land on the floor? So you basically hop and then you fly in the sky, and then you cannot land on the floor anymore?
You need to take the momentum and swing with your right leg. Don't forget I'm going clockwise. While your left leg shoots up and...
Okay, here is correct. The beginning of the movement is correct, actually, how he does it. Here is correct until here, but then he starts from here. Wait.
Your left leg shoots.
Here is very, very correct. Perfect, I would say. But here he starts swinging this leg backwards. You shouldn't swing this leg backwards. You should keep it here. Maybe he missed a little bit of flexibility. I don't know. But I would, if you try to do this step here, try to keep this leg higher more and don't swing it in this way backwards. Otherwise, it can mess up your windmill start. Sorry, my English, I bet. No worry, no worry. I'm not sure what you mean though. When I spin, I can't land on the floor. I think you mean like your feet will drop on the floor, maybe? I'm not sure.
And you go with your body.
But if this is the problem, you should practice the shoulder freezes, in my opinion. And so basically going from the back to the shoulder freeze, to the back to the shoulder freeze, using your shoulder by not dropping your feet down on the floor. So keep your feet up all the time and go shoulder freeze, back, and so on.
On your shoulder and then on your back. That does not only sound complicated, it is complicated. Step by step. I recommend that you first of all learn the correct leg motion. Get comfortable in doing this movement. When you want to go from the turtle freeze on your back, you need to put your elbow on the ground, then touch the ground with your right shoulder, and then you're basically already on your back.
Yeah, this is correct for starting. Like, I also recommend to lean the shoulder on the floor. I even recommend to really go into a shoulder freeze before learning the proper windmill. Just do the side freeze to shoulder freeze, actually, because the movement of the arm is the same. So if you learn how to do side freeze and then pushing to the shoulder freeze, then you also learn the movement of the arm in the windmill. But then later on, when you get more familiar with the windmill, the shoulder is not touching the floor anymore. So basically, for the turtle freeze, you're gonna open up to almost the side freeze, you're gonna push, and then you're gonna lean directly here on the upper back.
So 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
Oh, and 2 quick tips. When training these steps, it might be that you will hit your head against the floor sometimes. And this...
To avoid that, just keep the head on the floor the whole time. Why? They don't explain like this.
Can kind of hurt sometimes. So to avoid that, you can simply wear a hat. Or you keep contact with the floor with your hat the whole time.
Exactly. I recommend this. This is much better.
Personally, do not do that, but it might help you. And always face into the direction you want to spin. So in the transition step, you of course have to turn your head. And the second thing is, when
Oh,
you're
thank you,
spinning on the
Nati.
back, don't spin on the lower
I
part,
don't know how to
but
pronounce it.
rather on
Nati,
the shoulders.
Nati.
And now
no,
it's time to
Nati.
combine the upper body with the lower body movement. While you
I see now. So basically, as I told you before, when he swings the left leg, as you can see until here he's swinging kinda good, but here he's already a little bit scissoring. So this leg should be a little bit closer to this shoulder. Maybe it's because of a lack of flexibility, I'm not sure. And here is almost using a shoulder freeze. As you can see here, his hips is a little bit dropping down. It's because this leg should be more up, more closer to the shoulder. If this leg will be closer to the shoulder, his hips will be also a little bit higher. Doesn't need to be too much higher. Oh, here is pretty low actually. And also the head is like this. So basically now he's almost on the middle to lower back. Actually, for a proper windmill, you want to stay on the middle to higher back, not to the lower back like this. Yeah, here his hips are very low. And also his head is like this. I wouldn't recommend to do like this personally. Especially if you want to learn many windmill variations and many windmill combos. Double windmills, tombstone windmills, and yeah, many other things like Australian windmills. Almost everything, or every windmill actually.
While you swing with your right leg and while you go up with your left one, you go on your elbow, on your shoulder, and then on your back. This is the step where your momentum will come from. So the faster you do that, the easier
Here the
it will
bounce
be.
was high. Actually, if he bounces like this, it will be better.
But doing it fast does not mean doing it dirty. Don't forget that.
So, Kaio, how tall are you? How many techniques depends on the height? For example, long leg, short legs. I am 177 centimeters. And if you are talking about the windmill, actually it doesn't matter how tall you are in the windmill, because the windmill is pretty simple. The technique is pretty simple, so you don't need to change the technique based on your height. But this is also true for many other power moves. It doesn't really depends on how tall you are, but it mostly depends on your type of flexibility, you know, and also your strength. For example, in the windmill it doesn't really matter, but in flare and air flares, for example, I would recommend a little bit different techniques depending on how flexible someone is and how strong someone is in some specific positions, like the handstand or like the L-sit, or like depending which move also, if we're talking about the flare or if we're talking about the air flare.
Learn to spin at least 1 to 2 rounds on your back until you proceed to the next step. And the transition from step number 2 to step number 3 makes doing multiple windmills a very tough thing. And it's the reason why most people can do the beginning very well, but fail in doing multiple rounds. As soon as you're in this position, you must understand where you actually want to go. You must understand.
Here he also explained the same way like Pygmy. So basically here he's almost in a shoulder freeze, but then he leans one foot on the floor to do the catch, and also he leans the other foot on the floor. I wouldn't recommend to do this, or maybe I would recommend to do this only at the first few tries, just to understand how the body should rotate. But then if you cannot understand this movement, in my opinion, you should not do this and place your feet on the floor anymore, but you should try to go on a shoulder freeze with at least one foot up in the air. If possible, even both feet up in the air. You can also practice alternatively. So sometimes you can place only the left foot down on the floor, but the right foot up. Sometimes you can do the opposite, place only the right foot down on the floor, but keep your left foot up in the air the whole time. So in this case, you will develop more body awareness and you will understand how to keep your legs and your feet up in the air in a faster time. Otherwise, if you use this method by dropping down the feet, it can take longer to understand how to keep the feet up in the air the whole time.
You must understand that you want to roll from your left shoulder again back to the right one. And the maybe easiest way for this transition is to put a turtle freeze in between. That means when you're doing the backspin, you're on your left shoulder, then you make a slight jump so that you land back on the turtle freeze. And don't forget, your task is not to hold the turtle freeze. This is even more difficult than just doing multiple rounds. When you try to hold the turtle
It
freeze,
depends, actually. For some people, it might be harder to catch in the turtle freeze and to stop. This usually happens when you learn windmill by using too much momentum, and by not using the correct technique so much. But if you learn the windmill correctly, stopping in the turtle freeze should be like a key point. And then keep going. So every round you almost stop in the turtle freeze. It depends on the way you learn. Actually, you can also learn it with more momentum, but then, of course, you will have a little bit hard times to stop and to catch in the turtle freeze.
you just stop the momentum, which will make it much more difficult. So just use it as a bridge. Put your right elbow again in the center of your body, take the momentum, and spin another round. If this is too much technique and you're more of the person who works with strength, just make a push-up. To be honest, this is how I did it myself too. You bring your arms to the center of your body, then you push up and push up with your hips at the same time. Try to roll again from one side of the shoulder to the other. And don't forget, the more momentum you have, the easier it will be. In the second way, you start in a push-up position.
Interesting, I never seen this kind of push-up like this. It looks more like a windmill variation or a Superman windmill almost than like a regular windmill. Maybe for some people who are very, very strong in their shoulders and in their arms, it will be better. But personally, I never met someone who learned the windmill with this technique immediately. Maybe they try to do a variation later on by using this kind of technique here, like a push-up, but learning the windmill immediately like this, it's a little bit weird to me.
People find that more comfortable than the turtle freeze position, which I can understand.
Oh,
But I find that
I also
more-
learned first this kind of coin drop by using my arms. I learned this movement before I learned the windmill, so I could do this. I don't know
In
how
the
to call it,
second way,
because it's not like a real coin drop. The real coin drop is supposed to be without the arms, and the head coin drop is supposed to be with the head. This is, I would call it maybe supported coin drop, or maybe hands coin drop, I don't know.
Start in a push-up position. Many people find that more comfortable than the turtle freeze position.
Yeah, this to me is pretty easy, especially if you are strong enough with your shoulders and with your arms, because you can just do basically a push-up and then drop your feet down on the floor. So basically, my problem when I started the windmill in the first few weeks or months, I don't remember, is that I didn't know how to keep my feet up in the air the whole time. So I could bounce off the windmill, but then after bouncing, I can even push up like this guy, like this position here, but then my feet will drop on the floor. And same would happen if I try a windmill. So I can almost do one round, but then my feet will drop on the floor. But the key to avoid that is learning immediately to not drop the feet down, like not doing like he showed before, but trying to use the shoulder freeze a little more and trying to stay at least with one foot up in the air, or even immediately both feet up in the air, even by bending the legs if necessary. Because bending the legs, it doesn't ruin the form too much, It's very easy to transform your bent leg windmill in a straight leg windmill. It's not hard, you just need to extend the legs. That's it. But having some other type of issues, for example, dropping always one foot on the floor, is pretty hard to fix. So if you need to fix something, I would rather try to bend the legs and at all costs try to avoid to touch with my feet on the floor, even by bending the legs, and then rather than dropping the feet down on the floor. It's easier to fix.
Which I can understand. But in my opinion, this is a bit more difficult as it requires more strength.
Of course, this one, I also learned this one before the windmill, but I wouldn't recommend to anyone. I would only recommend it to people who are pretty strong in their arms.
Position. You stretch out
And also in their core, in their abs, because to do this you need a lot of bounce from the legs and from the abs.
open your legs just like another one. Here you jump up slightly and then you make the swing motion. That means you jump up and then you twist. And from there everything is exactly as already described. By the way, if you're doing breakdance or b-boying, a good ending is always very important. I recommend that you stop the momentum a bit and go into a baby freeze position. That will make the whole move just perfect. Alright guys, that was it. So much information just for like 2 seconds of spinning, but of course it is not as easy as it looks.
Okay, I think that's it. I will give it a like. Yeah, the Pygmy and Vincenti TV and Vitality tutorials were very similar. The level was pretty similar also. I don't have a real preference at the moment which one was better. Let me think. I will react to Sambo now. I'm pretty curious if he teaches about the head staying on the floor the whole time or no. Oh, in his case... Oh, he also does like Pygmy, same thing. Head on the floor and then lifting. Head on the floor and then lifting. Okay, let's skip the intro a little bit.
You know, I hope you guys are having a great day, whoever you are and wherever you're from. And, you know, even if you don't speak English, whatever, what's up? So first of all, a little history. Back in the day, there was a move called the backspin. B-boy Crazy Legs from the Rock City crew kind of messed up his ending and accidentally created what was first called the continuous backspin, today known as the windmill.
This is good. Very good that he explained a little bit the background, the story of the windmill. I should also do it in my tutorials in the past, but I always just forgot to do it. Sometimes I don't even know the story of some moves. I only know the story of some specific moves. I also know the story of the windmill a little bit. Actually, not the whole story, but just some small details. But I don't even know if they are true because I never read them in an official something. I only heard them from other people. So the one reason I never told the story of a move is because I cannot be 100% sure if the story that I know is the real story. We don't have the real proof. So I only know from what other people told me. So I wouldn't like to say wrong informations, you know. But some other stories like the air flare is a little bit more documented, a little bit because it came later on. So about the air flare will be more interesting to tell the story, I think.
So before starting with the windmill, you need to know in what direction your windmill will be. And that's the case with all your power moves. Because you don't want to be able to do a windmill in one direction and then a head spin in the other direction. Because you're going to limit your possibilities to make crazy combos. To know your direction of the windmill, you need to figure out which hand you do your baby freeze or turtle freeze. If you don't know how to do a baby freeze or a turtle freeze, then you should probably get started on that first. Let me know.
Yeah, very good advice. As I said also in yesterday live stream, if I'm not wrong, to really tell people to do the moves in the same direction. For us, for me, for him, I think it's pretty obvious, right? But when you're starting breaking, you don't think about this too much. Even for me, when I started breaking, I practiced my first windmill counterclockwise, but now actually I do windmill clockwise because I realized, oh, actually my windmill is on the opposite direction as my backspin and as my taro freeze. So I don't know why. Maybe because the person who taught me the windmill at that time did it counterclockwise, so I tried to mimic and try to replicate the same movement that he told me. But maybe the person who told me the backspin was spinning clockwise, so I did the two moves, even if they are very similar moves, I did them in the opposite direction. And yeah, for beginners, this is not so obvious, but so it's very, very good that you mentioned about that. I should also say, I don't remember if I told this in my tutorial, but I should do it. And the other tutorials, I think, yeah, this is something they missed before.
I don't know if you want me to make any tutorials for that, because I actually don't know if you guys want that or not. So just let me know. if you do your baby freeze on your left hand, you're gonna do everything in this video the same direction that I do it. If you do your baby freeze on your right hand, you're gonna have to do everything the
Actually, to me, I don't know. I'm not sure about the real names of the moves. When I say baby freeze, I mean the freeze when you lean one knee, yeah, over the elbow. So one hand is like this, and the other hand, this one, the left in my case, is supporting the leg. So this is the baby freeze. What he's showing here in the clip is not a baby freeze, but is like almost like a side freeze. He should turn a little more actually to be completely like a side freeze. It's like a mix between a tatar freeze and a side freeze. So basically baby freeze is like this by supporting the leg here. Tatar freeze is more to the front, like this, facing with your chest the floor. And side freeze is more to the side, facing with the chest the side. I don't know how to say.
opposite direction. So left is right and right is left.
But in my opinion, for the windmill, you need mainly tatar freeze and side freeze, not baby freeze too much. Of course, the baby freeze, you should have control over all these positions. It will be better. As I said before, the more variations of the freezes you know, the better chances to have a comfortable windmill.
Whoever did not listen to that last sentence is totally screwed. So for step one, you want to get into that baby freeze. Try
Oh yeah, he called the baby freeze even this freeze here. So this is to me is not baby freeze, it's tatar freeze.
keep your head and
But maybe it depends on the countries. Maybe in some places they call it in this way. In other places they call it in another way. I don't know.
feet level. From this position, you want to start rotating 90 to 180 degrees by using
Oh,
that
this
free
I like that he shows about this because I think the other tutorials didn't show this too much. And this is very important to create the momentum, the initial momentum of the windmill.
hand. It's okay to let your toes slide over the floor as long as your body is staying level. As you can see, at this point, I'm turning to my left because I do my baby freeze on my left hand. If you freeze on your right hand, you should turn to the right. By doing this, you're creating rotation, speed, and momentum for that epic win. So this is a tricky one, because the windmill gives you the illusion that you're rolling to the side when it comes to the transition to your back. When people try this for the first time, they usually have the problem of the legs hitting the floor. So I have this trick for that problem. You want to roll 80% to the front, so you kind of end up in a simple shoulder roll. While performing the shoulder roll, you want to stretch and open both legs and fold up the moment your back touches the floor. As you can see, I'm rolling towards my left shoulder because I'm doing my baby freeze on my left hand. So yeah, it looks kind of weird in the beginning, but this is a really good way to learn how to keep those legs off the floor. Because a lot of you good-looking folks right now that are watching this video probably have that problem. You go from your baby freeze onto your back, and those legs just keep touching the floor. So use this technique to try and learn to keep those legs up in the air. So once you start to get the hang of this, it's probably going to look a little something like this. So as you can see, the rotation I have created in step one is transitioning straight into a back.
I would like him to explain a little more about the arm movement. So he explained the initial how to give the initial rotation and momentum, which is very good, but he didn't explain much about how to push with the arm and how to roll on the shoulder exactly. He only said that you need to roll in this way, but the explanation was not so clear in my opinion. Maybe he will explain a little later more, I don't know, let's see.
I have to add that there are actually many other ways to go into a backspin, but this tutorial is strictly for the windmill, so maybe in another tutorial.
Oh, I don't think he's gonna mention about that.
So this is another tricky one, but you're almost there. Now we have to get back into our baby freeze from this position. Like step two, a lot of people think this next step is to the side, but this is how you're going to get those legs to hit the floor again. So for this one, we're going to roll over to the back, over our right shoulder to find our way back to that baby freeze. But first, we have to have our arms ready to catch the floor. So you want your baby freeze hand in position and the other close to your shoulder. So, slide
Some
your head
people
to the
really
shoulder.
do this. I've seen it so many times from beginners. I don't know why, they straighten one arm and they do this kind of weird windmill variation, almost look like a Superman windmill, a weird variation of the Superman windmill mixed with the normal windmill. I don't know. It's so funny.
So, slide your head to the side to create space, arms in position, and let your legs guide you over your right shoulder until you get where you need to go. At this point, strength will be an issue. You need to have a little strength to catch that baby freeze without having your legs touch the floor. This is probably the hardest step to execute.
It's true, it's strength. Maybe you should specify what kind of strength, because people may think it's arm strength. Actually, it's not arm strength, it's mainly core strength to do this. Because to not let your legs drop on the floor, you need to use the core muscles. You're not really using, you don't need a lot of shoulder strength, it's not necessary. The shoulder, the arms position is more just about technique and just about posture. So you don't need shoulder strength, you just need to have the correct movement, the correct technique. But to keep the legs up in the air, you need a little bit of core strength. Otherwise, your legs will just fall on the floor. Your feet will just drop.
So if you try this like 3 times and then like give up, you have just wasted your time. So a really good tip for you
Pretty
guys
cool
when
editing.
training your windmill is not to do one windmill every time and then just stop. Right? What you actually want to do is like 5 or 6 windmills, even if they're like really crappy and your legs hit the floor.
This is a very, very good advice. Not only for the windmill, but for any power move. As I mentioned in the yesterday live stream, I think people who progress the slowest are usually people who only practice one round of one single move, and then they stand up and then they practice again the same round and so on, and they keep repeating this one round and the same mistake over and over. In this way, they are just reinforcing, they are making their mistake being worse. I don't know how to say. Like, they are practicing their mistake. They are not practicing to improve their mistake, you know? So in order to force your moves to evolve and to be better, you need to force yourself to continue the move. So even an air flare, I know, air flare is very hard to continue because you are up in the air. So if you fall the first round, people might think, okay, how can I continue if my legs just fall? Just try to continue with another move, actually, as I said before, in the yesterday live stream. So for example, in the air flare, do one round and continue to a windmill or to a flare. For the windmills, you are so low. The center of gravity is so low. So for windmill, you don't need to continue in another move. You just need to continue the windmill itself. So don't just do one round and then stop and then do one round again, but try to do multiple rounds. Then, after mastering multiple rounds, then maybe you can focus on one single round just to clean your form, maybe, or to improve some details. This is good. Or same goes for the flare or for the air flare. First, learn multiple rounds, or learn how to use the moves in the combos. And only after learning this, learn how to adjust the details of the move, and then practice one round specifically just to adjust the form, or do maybe 2 rounds, 3 rounds, only to really focus on the small details you want to correct. Otherwise, just do multiple rounds.
Just like trying to keep getting into that motion, you're going to absorb the move a lot faster. It's going to make all
True.
the pieces of the puzzle fall into place.
True. Yeah, this will really speed up the progress. People who improve the fastest are people who practice a lot of combos, a lot of transitions, and really try to continue their power moves, even when they fall, even if they will look very unclean. Maybe sometimes one of people's issue is also a little bit the pride, because it looks a little bit awkward and a little bit weird when you do, for example, one windmill and you fall, but you try to keep going. It looks like you're just rolling on the floor. Or even the air flare, when someone do one air flare and then they fall, it's kind of awkward if they try to continue. But if they stand up immediately, it looks like they're done, you know? So maybe it can be also a little bit of a pride thing, but don't do it. Just keep going. Even if it looks so ugly, even though it looks so awkward, just keep doing it, you know. It will make the progress so much faster.
Don't practice windmills with like sweaty clothes or like shirts that have like big prints on them and stuff, because it's actually gonna stick to the floor and just like get you like burn marks and all these kinds of stuff. So
Very true. Yes, I also recommend the same. Sorry, I'm gonna fill the water very quickly. Very, very true. I should also mention about this in my tutorials. I think I didn't mention, I'm not sure, I don't remember so clearly, but this is a very important thing. Also the previous tutorial, I think they say also it's about the floor. Choose a very slippery floor and soft clothes. Soft floor and slippery, soft clothes and slippery floor, or even vice versa. Yeah, it's okay. If the floor is soft, it must be also slippery. If it's only soft, but it's not slippery, it can still create bruises on the shoulders or on the back.
just make sure
Or even a little bit, some hair can fall off.
you're wearing something nice and smooth. Don't wear caps, watches, bracelets, sunglasses, or even have change in your pockets, because that's going to get tangled up in your move and it's going to mess everything up. Make sure you know how to execute a strong, smooth, good windmill before actually starting to learn variations. There are a lot of crazy windmill variations out there. So let me know what kind of windmill variation tutorials you would like to see next.
Pretty good tutorial. Let's leave it a like. I just said that nobody still explained the windmill with the head always on the floor. Am I the only one who explained like this? Let's see Hironaga. I'm pretty sure someone else explained also the windmill with the head always on the floor. I remember I've seen other tutorials explaining like this, but I don't remember who. Maybe some Chinese guys? Oh. Or maybe Pocket, because sometimes maybe I confuse. I've been with so many b-boys to see their workshops and to just practice with them. So maybe sometimes I confuse, they explain like this in real life, not in the tutorials, I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure, for example, b-boy Pocket also explains the windmill with the head always on the floor. And as you may see, Pocket windmills are very crazy, are next level. And it's because his head is always on the floor. Ooh, pretty fast windmill, but also same problem. Head is off and on the floor all the time. So even if his windmill is pretty fast and his legs shape is pretty good, you can see it's not so smooth. Maybe if you are a little bit a beginner, you don't notice it. It will look smooth. But to me, that I have a little bit more expert eyes in the windmills, and I've also seen so many crazy windmills with like Pocket windmill, for example, or even some people do even faster windmill than Pocket actually. They are, when you see these kind of windmills, you can really notice their head is always on the floor. Wait, let me turn down the volume a little bit. I'm afraid of the copyright. Chair is the most important. So he mean like here he's doing like a taro freeze, and then he switches to a side freeze. Oh, this is a good side freeze actually. This, oh yeah, this leg swing is pretty good, I would say. It's better than the other guy. Here is a little bit, okay, no, here I don't like it, because now he's scissoring the legs, as you can see. In the windmill we are never doing like this, so this advice, in my opinion, is wrong. Don't kick your legs until the point that they start scissoring. Because if you learn this pattern with the leg, this movement pattern with the legs, you will have hard times doing the correct windmill. You should just swing the legs together. As soon as your legs start scissoring, you need to stop. You need to swing a little less, you know. The legs are always moving together. So here it's correct, it's very good. Here is correct. Oh, here is correct. Here also. So why at the beginning he did it wrong? And then he did it correct. So this one is wrong. This one is correct. This one is correct again. Yeah. Oh, I think here he's trying to keep the head always on the floor. Because you see, his head is on the floor, but he lifted up, sorry my English guys, it lifts up just few centimeters. So I think his intention is to lean the head on the floor, but maybe, yeah, he doesn't have enough experience on that. So yeah, head on the floor would be better, trust me guys, trust me. Even though other tutorials don't say like this, they don't mention about that, trust me, really, if you want to take your windmill to the next level. Interesting, he's also placing the head a little bit turned like this, like the other guy, what was his name? I forgot. Not Sambo, but the previous tutorial that I've seen. I think it's pretty good advice because it makes you have a little bit more momentum. And also tucking the shoulder in, this is good. Yes, this is good advice. I like how he's showing the arm movement in this way. Pretty good. In the previous tutorial, he didn't show the arm movement so much like this. Okay, here, of course, this first position is better, but in my opinion, it's still wrong. You should be laying more on the upper back, not on the lower back here, and the head relaxed down on the floor. You will also spend more energy if you tuck your head in all the time, and if you stay contracted like this, you need to use your core more, you know? So you will have hard times doing many rounds of windmill. If you want to do many rounds, you just need to stay relaxed down, and then you don't use your core energy so much anymore. He also uses the elbow on the floor, I think. Pretty interesting, all the tutorials that I chose to react, they use pretty much the same technique. I want to find at least one tutorial that explains the windmill a little bit differently, but I don't know which one, so after this tutorial let me search very quickly. Very slow motion. Legs up. Oh, he really is almost... Yeah, he really uses his elbow, I think. Or no, I couldn't really see because of the perspective. Maybe a little bit. I don't know if it's the shoulder or the elbow more. Yeah, I cannot really notice. Maybe a little both. Explain the power move start. Hironaga style. Oh, very cool. Yeah, this is not his style actually. This is like many people do this kind of start by bending the leg. It's pretty cool, I like it. Sometimes I also do use this technique by really bending the first leg that kicks really backwards. Almost, yeah, the legs in this case are scissoring intentionally and one leg is really bending, and then this leg that is bending is gonna kick. So it gives a little bit more momentum because you're gonna use the bend and then the straight leg. They're gonna allow you to have more like kicking power at the start. Actually, I like to use this technique also in the air flare. Some people do it also. I don't know if you notice, because in the air flare, it's a very high power move, right? And it's very continuous. So it's pretty unique because basically in each round of the air flare, you can do a power move start. So some people, sometimes me included, depending which form I want to use for the air flare, sometimes I bend in my case, the right leg when I land on the left arm a little backwards, so I can recreate the power move start once more. So I can basically bend a little bit backwards the leg and then use the power kick again. I really like this form, but maybe it's not for everyone. Some people don't like it. So basically when I land in the air flare, I'm gonna fold this leg in this way a little bit. But of course, my body angle would be higher, will not be so low anymore. And yeah, I'm gonna try to use this landing in the air flare to kinda do the power move start again. And then I'm gonna land and do the power move start again. It makes me feel like, oh, I can kick stronger if I do like this. Oh, double windmill. Pretty nice. Okay. So I wanted to react to Monster and also my tutorial, but first let me check very quickly if I can find some other tutorials that explain differently, because I guess Monster will also explain the windmill in a similar way. I'm not sure 100%. Oh, it's my life. Lil G. Maybe I can see Lil G tutorial. Should I see Lil G tutorial? Oh, there's another tutorial of Pick Me. My tutorial. Oh, this guy. I want to see this guy actually. B-Boy Heroes. His windmills are crazy, if he's the guy that I'm thinking about. So I hope his technique will be a little bit different, because I want to see... Oh, this tutorial is only 46 seconds. It's so short. I hope this tutorial will explain the windmill with another technique, so it's gonna be a little bit more interesting to analyze, a little bit less boring. So here, as you can see, his legs are very high and he's almost straight or even a little bit arching, like a banana shape here from the head to the foot is a little bit arching, as you can see. Is already a little bit different than the previous tutorials, because almost everybody, when they do windmill, they try to pike the legs a little bit to do kind of like a pancake stretch, you know. But here he doesn't use a pancake stretch at all. He's using more like a side split only. Sorry, middle split, I mean. His windmill is very high, and as you can see, his head is always on the floor. So here the head is always on the floor, and he's staying on the upper back. This is the technique that I like more, and then I also try to do the windmill a little bit like this, but still a little bit different. In his case, the legs are very high all the time, up. For me, I like to compress my legs more and then to bounce them off. Very, very high windmill, legs up all the time and hips up all the time. But as you can see, the smoothness is completely different than other tutorials. So it's much more smooth. It really looks like a continuous movement, you see? And this is because his hips level is always the same, and also his head is glued to the floor the whole time. So it looks like he's just rolling on the floor. While the other guys, they look more like they are going up and down in the windmill. They are doing this kind of movement in the windmill. His windmill, it looks like he's just rotating, just rolling. I like this technique more than the other guys actually. And the only thing, maybe his legs flexibility is not so much, so he cannot open the legs too much here. But I really like the smoothness. If you combine this smoothness with a little bit more legs flexibility, the windmill will be so cool. Maybe the perfect windmill. Oh, here he teaches the same way like I teach. So use the shoulder freeze. The other guys usually used to put this foot here. This foot they used to put it on the floor, and then after putting this foot on the floor, go into a step freeze, and then sometimes they even lean this other foot on the floor. I would never do like this. For me, I will at least lean only one foot, but even better, like he's showing here, go into the shoulder freeze, feet very high up, and from here trying to turn into a step freeze without moving at all the feet. So the legs are just gonna stay there contracted. Or if it helps, you can even bend them backwards a little bit. So in this case, you will learn how to keep the muscles stiff and not let them drop down. This is the most important part that many people do wrong because they just push up and make them fall down. Hey Kaio, if you have your legs lower in your windmill and push your legs hips up on the back, won't it automatically make you go up and down and make the movement less smooth? Yes, if you have the hips lower, of course, it will make you look more like a bounce. I also bounce in a windmill, but for me, in my opinion, if you take your head off, the bounce will be even more evident and the windmill will look even more like this, you know? And it will be too much, in my opinion. It will be not so smooth anymore. So a good balance, if you don't like this type of windmill that he's doing right now with the hips too high all the time, I think you can try to do like I do. So keep your head always on the floor, like this guy, but you can bounce your legs like the other guys in the other tutorials. So basically you can keep the legs lower and the hips a little lower, but the head down on the floor. So in this case, it will look like a mix. It will still look very smooth, but you can also see the bounce a little bit of the hips and of the legs. So it's up to you, actually, which form you like the most. For me, I would recommend the way I do, because in my opinion, it's very good to connect any other power move. And it's also the way that most of b-boys, when they have a very good windmill, they do the windmill like this, you know. But if you want to achieve the very, very fast and smooth windmill, as fast and as smooth as possible, I would recommend this guy technique here. So keeping the hips up all the time, almost like arching the legs all the time. Yeah, even when he drops down here, his hips are staying pretty high, even on the back. His head is still on the floor, his hips here are still high. And then he uses the shoulder freeze and catches back without moving the legs at all. Hey Kaio, how do I get faster windmills and progress to no-handed windmills? I have head mills. I can do like 8 to 9 rounds of head mills, it being 8 months since I learned windmills, almost a year. It's very hard to say without seeing your clips. It depends on what you do wrong. But this tutorial that I'm watching now, I think it will be very useful for you, because in this tutorial he shows how to keep the hips up in the windmill the whole time. I'm gonna rewind just a little bit so you can see. And if you use this kind of technique, your windmill will become so smooth and so fast. He has one of the fastest windmill, actually, this guy here. So look at his technique. As you can see, his hips is always high and his head is always on the floor. Here is on the floor, here is still on the floor, here is still on the floor. Always on the floor and hips up. If you learn this technique, the windmill will be, yeah, so fast and smooth. As you can see here, it's getting faster. Maybe show some old clips. Oh, here, as you can see, actually in this clip his hips is lower, but the windmill is so smooth. Head always on the floor. So if you want to achieve very fast windmills, I really recommend head always on the floor, like this guy. Oh, I think this clip here, it's multiple years ago. Probably he was more flexible because his legs open more. I cannot do it with my head always on the floor, and my head gets off when I'm on the back. So as I mentioned before, you need to relax the neck muscle. So don't do like this. Just pretend that you're sleeping. Pretend that you go to sleep. So basically you push off, and then after pushing off, you just relax the head like this down on the floor. And you should really fix this issue. Many people don't mention this as an issue. They do the windmill like this. But in my opinion, if you want to learn windmill variations and if you want to do like crazy windmills, you need to fix this and you need to practice relaxing your head down on the floor. And yeah, let me see his channel, because I think he do a lot of windmill videos. Let me see the most popular. Is it the same feeling? Like, is it something really different, or can I get it easy in few days? I want crazy windmills like when I turn into a tornado. So in this case, you really need the head on the floor. Maybe it will not take few days. Maybe it will take a little longer. Maybe it depends on you, how hard you practice. It can take, for me, also my first windmills, I used to lift up my head off the floor, and then I could fix this mistake maybe in around 1 week. For me, it took around 1 week. I needed to practice only one round of windmill first, even though I could do over 10 rounds already. I needed to do one step back and clean the first round only. So I focused only on the start from the tower freeze and going to one round, focusing on the head down on the floor. And when I learned this one round, I tried to do 2 rounds. So I cannot try to learn the windmill from scratch. It only took around 1 week. So it's a good investment, because if you just keep practicing the windmill like you do now, probably after 2, 3, 4 months, your windmill will not improve much. But if you take only 1 week or maybe few week investment of going one step back and relearning the windmill with a little bit different technique, I know maybe it's gonna be boring in these 2 weeks or in this 1 week, but then after doing this small investment, your windmill will change and then you can progress faster. So I really recommend you doing this one step back and doing this small investment of time to gain more in the future. New to breaking, is practicing tiles good? What is tiles? Tiles. On tiles, wait, let me search on Google Translate. Sorry for my English, guys. Oops. Tiles. It depends how big is the, how to call it. No. What the hell? Sorry guys. The slot? Is it slot? I don't know if you will understand if I say like this, but it depends how big the slot between the tiles is, you know. But it's okay. Of course, it will be better on other floor, but it's still okay. So don't worry too much. Let me read a little bit. Of course, you can make your windmill faster without your head always on the floor, but why? Why you want to do like this? It doesn't make sense, because the head on the floor really gives you so many advantages. It will make your windmill automatically smoother and faster. It will make you learn more variations. So why you don't want to do this? Oh, okay. Thank you, University of Boliodara. I don't know. I mean, yeah. It depends how slippery the floor is, but also about the small little hole between the things, you know. For example, this is one, this is another one. In the middle there is something, you know, and sometimes this something in the middle is very very thin, so you don't even feel it, but sometimes it's a little bit wider and you really feel it when you do some moves. You feel it on your head, you feel it on your shoulders, so it really depends. I want to see one more tutorial of this guy. Let's see this 5 steps for cleanest windmill. I think I never seen this before. 1, bounce your stretches. Ooh, he's doing like a shoulder spin. Wait. Let me see again. What is the meaning of bounce your stretches? He means the legs. Here the backspin that he does is so high. Oh, what is your name? Wait. Lloyd Forger, is it your name, Lloyd Forger? I want to dedicate this to you. When you start the windmill, if you want to fix your technique, try from the tower freeze or from the side freeze to go into this type of backspin here. Try this a lot. So try to go tower freeze or side freeze to this backspin very high and head on the floor. If you master this movement, tower freeze to this backspin here, the windmill with the head on the floor and also faster windmill will be much easier to learn. To practice, like to make the windmill faster without being with the head always on the floor, you can do it. In this case, you just need to kick stronger, actually. That's it. That's all you need to do. Just kick stronger. Maybe learning combos and learning other power moves will help to develop, in general, more leg power, you know? When you can do only few power moves, like maybe only flare and windmill, it's not gonna be enough to have enough power in one move itself. But when you learn multiple power moves, all the power moves that you are gonna learn are gonna help each other somehow. Oh, he's really showing very, very slow motion. Very high hips. I want to see if he performs a very fast windmill somewhere. Oh, this video, I think. Here you can see how a really, really fast windmill look like and very smooth. This is a very good windmill. These are good windmills. So in order to do them like this, head needs to be glued to the floor. And he's also not bouncing the legs. He's keeping the hips at the same height all the time, you know? So the legs are not doing this, but they're kind of fixed. The legs are just staying stable all the time. The legs are not really moving so much. All the movement come from the upper body, from the arms, and from the torso. And then the legs are gonna follow up. So the technique is a little bit changing. If you want very fast windmills like this guy, I recommend to follow his tutorial, B-Boy Heroes 1. Kaio is the same name that I use on YouTube. How to kick the leg stronger? You just need to kick stronger, there's no other way. But maybe some people, I don't know if the strength is a limiting factor. Maybe for some people, they don't have enough strength to kick stronger. So even if you try to kick stronger, you cannot kick stronger. It's kind of like asking someone, how can I make my backflip higher? Maybe you can improve the technique, okay, but if your legs don't have enough power, you will not be able to do a higher backflip. You need to improve your backflip, your jumping power first. Maybe you need to do some specific exercises. You need to learn heavy squats, maybe, to improve your leg strength for the backflip. For the power moves, it's a lot of kicking, so you need to improve the kicking power. If you want to do it in the most natural way possible for power move itself, it's just practicing a lot of power moves, not only windmills, but a lot of different power moves. And all the power moves need to be in the same direction, because if you do, for example, flares in one direction and windmill in the other direction, they're not going to help each other so much. But if you're going to practice flare and windmill in the same direction, plus you're going to also practice halos, also head spins, also, I don't know, any other power move, even 90s or air flares, anything, is gonna really train and transfer the kicking power for any other move. I am beginner, bro. I can only do windmills and backspin. I'm learning munchmill now. You can still learn other moves. You can learn swipes, you can learn flares, you can learn crickets, towers, head spin. So even if you are a beginner, you can learn many different moves, don't worry. Yeah, pretty crazy. Okay, so now how long is the live stream until now? It's pretty long already. So I will react to my own tutorial now. Should I also do Simon Monster? So I want to show you the way I explain. This tutorial is also pretty old, so maybe now if I need to make a new one, I would change some small details. I don't know.
This is the new windmill tutorial. I already made a few windmill tutorials, but in this one, power moves
I'm gonna
tutorial.
skip a
Also, I
little
will
bit.
put in the description the links of the previous
Will I
windmill
show the
tutorials
windmill
that I
here?
made. So the first thing that I never heard in any other tutorial.
Wait. I want to see if I show the
This is the
windmill.
new windmill tutorial. I already made a few windmill tutorials, but tutorial for power moves, and you will find the link in the description. You just need to sign up with your email, and I'm gonna send you the power move tutorial. Also, I will put in the description.
Oh, wait a second. I want to see first. I want to show you the windmill, how I do it, my technique. Yeah, so this is my technique. As you can see, head is on the floor, head here is still on the floor. The legs are bouncing, so the legs are going down and then up, down and then up. This make it less smooth than Hero 1, the previous guy that I show you. But since my head is always on the floor and the hips, as you can see, are higher than the other guys in the other videos, it looks still smoother than the other guys. Because here in this part, in this position, for them, they would do like this. By doing like this and by lifting up the head, also the hips are gonna drop down. And the windmill will look too much up and down, up and down, up and down, and not too smooth like a rotation anymore. So I think, in my opinion, this, how I do it, is a very good balance between smoothness and bounce. Hero 1 doesn't use any bounce at all. Other guys use the bounce, but then they're lifting up the head, so they're reducing the smoothness.
And by practicing more and more.
One more time, and then I'm gonna start the tutorial. Yeah, you can see the technique.
If you want to know more about power moves, make sure to sign email. You don't need so much flexibility and you don't need so much strength.
Or should I react to my first tutorial? Maybe it would be more funny. Okay guys, sorry, I changed my mind. I wanna react to my first windmill tutorial. I think it would be more funny because I don't remember how I explained in my first video. Now I'm talking a lot, so you can already kind of guess how I explain the windmill now. But back in the days, this tutorial is over 10 years ago, I think. I think it will be more interesting to see. Oh, this one is also interesting, where I show all the exercises, all the windmill exercises. Oh, this tutorial here, this is 15 years ago. So crazy, so many years ago. 300k views. How can I send you my clip so you can review? I already said on Instagram. You can send me your clip on Instagram at Kaio Falcro. Let's see my windmill back in the days. Yeah, same form actually, same form as my new video. Maybe here it was faster a little bit, I'm not sure. Here, as you can see, head on the floor, head keep staying on the floor, and hips a little higher than the other guys. The other guys' hips were a little bit here, you know? So hips higher, legs spread, head down on the floor, and then here I don't touch with this elbow. Some other guys explain that you need to touch with the elbow. It's not wrong, actually. You can do it with this form. For me, I don't touch. I just use my head, and then I use the right hand, and then I touch with my left hand a little later. As you can see, I touch here in this part. By the way, when I do no-handed windmills, I change a little bit my form. In the no-handed windmills, I reduce the bounce, so I don't do like this with my legs anymore, but I try to keep my legs a bit more fixed. A little bit like Hero 1, in this kind of technique, but not so high with the hips like him. Oh yeah. I remember. Something that can also help improving the windmill a lot is not starting from the tire freeze anymore if you are using the tire freeze, but trying to use the side freeze or try to use the headstand. the headstand will be even better because it's gonna force you to really add more momentum and more bounce. Here I'm showing the windmill by using the side freeze. So basically my elbow is tapping on my side and not close to the belly button. And here I start from the headstand and I go up to the headstand again, up to the headstand. This variation is very good to improve the windmill form. So for those who can already do windmills, but they want to improve their windmills, this is very, very recommended to make the windmill higher and also more powerful. And also it will be easier to connect other moves to the windmill, from the windmill, if you learn this variation. Here I'm using both, so I'm going from a headstand to the side freeze here, and then back to the headstand, back to the side freeze, and down. When I go down, as you notice, my head is always on the floor. Down and head glued. Oh, here actually I lifted it up. Let me see, but in the previous rounds, as you can see, head on the floor. Up, down, head on the floor. Before the windmill, what to do before the windmill? Of course, the backspin. This is the really first prerequisite. Hopped backspin. This is something other tutorials don't mention. I don't know why. For me, it's very helpful for the windmill. And basic freezes, transitions. This is not mandatory actually. I learned these freezes after learning the windmill, but it can help a lot and it can reduce the learning time by a lot. Oh, this is another exercise that almost nobody show, but in my opinion is very useful. Just practicing the rollback first, or the rollback to the headstand. You don't need to do the rollback completely straight. As you can see, I'm turning a little bit over toward the left shoulder if you spin clockwise. If you spin counterclockwise, you should be turning over your right shoulder a little bit, and then try to stop in a headstand position. This will make you understand how to kind of roll and then push up to the head when doing the head spin, the windmill. Even if you use a tower freeze, this exercise is still good. Instead of catching here in a headstand, you can try to do a rollback and then catch in a tower freeze. Here basically I'm teaching the same exercise but starting from a backspin-like position. So if someone is learning the windmill but have this problem, their feet are dropping down on the floor, they can try this exercise here. They can try the rollback to headstand or rollback to tower freeze or side freeze first, and then they can try with a little bit windmill momentum like I show here, and then they can catch in this position without dropping the feet. By not dropping the feet, just use the momentum of the rollback and push the feet up towards the ceiling and keep the legs stiff, so don't let the legs relax and drop on the floor. Here is the same but with another start. So basically I'm just repeating the thing that I showed before. And here I'm showing from the side freeze how to do it. Okay, here, as you can see, I'm also explaining in a similar way like the other tutorials, a more like common way, I would say, by staying a little lower and by leaning one foot on the floor. But as you can see, I'm not dropping this foot down on the floor. In the other tutorials, the other guys used to drop this foot and then go again and start again. In my opinion, don't drop both feet. Never drop both feet down on the floor while learning windmills. It will give you a very bad habit. And then do it again, and then you can drop only one foot, not both, only one. The other one should stay up in the air, and then start again. So in this case, in this way you will learn how to keep at least one foot up in the air. You can also, I know it's a little bit weird position, but you can also try to do the opposite. So from here, you can try to keep this foot up in the air and just drop the other one. So it will look like a little bit weird position, like almost like a back rock position, but it's gonna be also useful to make you understand how to avoid dropping this foot down on the floor. Okay, here I'm teaching the power move start. Here I also give a very good advice that I didn't see in many other tutorials. For beginners, it will be a little bit scary to do immediately the power move start and then dropping on the back. So instead of starting so high by standing, you can start on the knees. It's very easy. It's the same movement. You still do a power move start, but you start from the knees. It will be not scary anymore. And then you can start from one knee and one foot in this way. So you can learn it pretty gradually. So you start from here. It's almost standing, as you can see, because then I lift up my knee very quickly off the floor and then I start. And then you can gradually stand up more and more in order to learn it more gradually instead of just trying from standing. Remember to always bring your legs well here. Yeah, trying this. Oh, this was pretty crazy. Just starting from the back and doing the windmill. But yeah, this is very useful. Just try to push up like this, you know. Actually, the easier version would be doing a rollback to headstand. At first, if you cannot do a rollback to headstand, just practice the rollback, just only the rollback. Then practice rollback to headstand, and then try the rollback with less momentum. And then try directly starting from the back, like I'm doing here now. Starting from the back and try to go up in a headstand. This is a little bit hard. You starting the windmill like this. But you can try. You can try only the first movement that I do here. Only this one here. And then the evolution will be this. Okay, let me skip to the back a little bit. Yeah, this is the main issue that most of people do, and even in the other tutorials they kinda do. They're dropping down and they're letting their head lift, so the windmill will look almost like this. Now I'm exaggerating a little bit in this tutorial just to show better, but it's not gonna be too good for transitions if you learn this technique of the windmill. Okay, this I wouldn't do it anymore. This kind of swing is the same that I say before to not do it. So now I would say no, don't do this swing because I'm scissoring the legs. So I wouldn't recommend it. But this is very important, just to practice the side freeze like this, and then just go over a backspin and just spin with your head on the floor. So try the backspin with the head on the floor. So basically that's it. I think I will skip. Here I show the windmill again. Yeah, as you may notice, having this gap from the floor to the hips allow me to be a little bit faster and smoother in the windmill compared to the previous guys, you know. Beside Heroes 1, this b-boy is pretty crazy and his hips is even higher than me. and his legs are not square like this, but they are more extended. So the legs are not in this direction here, but they are more in this direction here, which is another technique that I really like actually. I only use this technique for the no-handed windmill. Maybe I can show you the difference. So memorize my windmill and memorize how my leg shape is, especially on the back. Wait. So here you can clearly see the angle between my body and my legs. It's kind of like a pancake stretch. Now I will show you the barrel windmill. Oh, maybe I can show you two different barrel windmills here. In this tutorial there is my friend Tommy and there is also me. So you can see two different barrel windmills. In my opinion, both of them are very good.
Hi, I'm Bestia.
And both of us use a similar technique. His legs are straighter than me, but the technique is basically the same. Oh, the camera angle, I don't know if you can understand very clearly. The head is always on the floor. This is Tommy. Shout out to my friend Tommy. He's on Instagram. He's called Tommy Fly. So his head is on the floor. His hips and his legs are kind of like almost like Heroes 1 in a straight line. And the hips are very high. You cannot really notice from this angle because they are filming from a higher angle. So from this angle you cannot really notice the gap between the floor and his hips. But if the camera angle was lower, you could see that his hips are pretty high. And as you can see, it's very smooth. Very, very smooth windmill. Because the head is always on the floor. And this is my windmill, also very smooth. This is the barrel windmill. So as you can notice, my head is always on the floor and the hips here in the barrel windmill, I'm not bouncing my legs anymore so much. Instead of using the bounce, I'm just keeping the legs stiff in one position and I'm mainly using the upper body, the shoulders and the arms to push. Same with Tommy, as you can see. Head glued to the floor. This is very important. As you can see here, head is glued to the floor. The legs are still a little bit in an angle, but they are not so square like before. Before, like this leg was more in this direction, you see.
Push hard.
And yeah, here you can see it better. The legs are a little bit more extended than before. The hips is still kind of like at the same level. If I want to make it even smoother, I should higher my hips even more like Heroes 1 does. The smoothness is very similar between this windmill and Heroes 1 windmill, I think. Or even Tommy windmill is kind of similar, almost the same. The only difference in the technique is Tommy legs are straighter. The hips and the head are pretty much the same as me. For me, I bend the legs a little bit. I do it on purpose because I like it. And Heroes 1 windmill, the legs are also a little bit bent, I think, but his hips are a little higher. Yeah, you can send your clip, you can send it on Instagram, Kaio Falcro.
With your whole body.
My name on Instagram is the same as YouTube.
And keep the momentum while you spin. Also, push hard with your arms.
Oh, this is my friend Bestia. I also want to show Bestia windmill actually. Wait a second. Oh, this is... Bestia windmill uses the same technique as I do.
Do a side flip
Let
from
me
their
find
back
the right
and their legs
timing.
fall down. All you have to do is spring your legs by kicking them upwards.
Maybe here?
Important thing while you do the windmill is to
I
kick
think he's
your
gonna
legs
show the
all
windmill.
time. The second important thing is to touch the floor only
Yes,
with the upper
so
part of your back.
his form
and
is
with
also
your
very
head.
clean.
Never touch with your lower or mid with the
It's
upper
pretty
legs
much
all
the same
time. The second
technique
important
as
thing
I
is
use. So head always on the floor, legs wide and
touch
up and straight. Here the head is also on the floor and the hips are very high. So there is a very big gap between the hips and the floor. As you can see here, big gap. And he's very clearly only leaning the middle to the higher part of the back on the floor. He's not touching with this part of the back at all. In the other tutorials you see the guys were leaning a little bit this part of the back here on the floor, which in my opinion is not so great for the smoothness and for the speed of the windmill. Of course, now I'm playing, it's slow motion, so you cannot really notice the speed. But with this type of form of the windmill, the speed will improve a lot. So also for you, if you're still watching, Lloyd Forger 69, if this is the right pronunciation, if you're still watching, if you want to have a faster windmill, I really recommend this form. Here you can see it in slow motion. Maybe I can put it even more slower. Okay, you're still watching. So pay attention to his form. This is the best form to really have a fast windmill, you know.
The second important thing is
Head glued to the floor, hands moving like this, not using the step freeze anymore. And you also need a very good flexibility of your legs to be able to open your legs like this, or maybe even more if you're even more flexible. And notice also how he's leaning the hands on the floor. So in order to reduce the friction, he's not using a real like side freeze or tato freeze anymore, but he's only leaning a little bit. The tricep and the chest or the lat are leaning together like this, but not really stabbing with the elbow. So if you stab with the elbow, you're gonna add more friction. But if you're only gonna do like this with the hands, you're gonna reduce the friction. And also in his case, the left hand is touching after, he's not using the elbow in this case.
your head.
So from here, head on the floor, hips up. Notice how high the hips is, and notice that you see even the middle back is not even touching the floor. He's only touching the floor with his upper back and with the head. His middle back here is up, and his lower back is up, and his hips are up. The hands are kind of wide, like this, ready to catch. The hands should be ready to catch, but in a wide way, not too close like this.
Never.
Because he's on his head, so he has enough space to roll. And as you can see, he touches with the right hand first, and then the left hand comes second. Legs very wide. The form is pretty extended. Keep the legs very wide all the time. And then yeah, keep going, keep the hips very high, head on the floor.
Or middle back.
Okay, I'm gonna play normally now. I hope we also show, oh no, we didn't show in full speed. Let me do it, let me try to do it on YouTube. If I do 2x, is it gonna be the normal speed? Or no? This now on YouTube is 2x. Maybe it's the normal speed? I'm not sure, no, maybe it's still slower. I don't know, I'm not sure actually. Let me show at the end of the tutorial, maybe showing it again, or no, I don't think so. No, I think we didn't show anymore, but it's okay. I think I already showed in the previous clips. And yeah, I think that's it. This live stream is already getting long, so oops, I closed the window. What should I do? Should I react to a few more, or is it enough? I think I already showed the different techniques, so in my opinion, if you really want smooth and fast windmill, use this guy Heroes 1 tutorials. In my opinion, he's the best for smooth windmills. This guy, B-Boy Heroes 1. Or yeah, even my tutorials, not because they are mine, I try to be detached, I don't know. But in my opinion, I made pretty good tutorials on the windmill, so check them out. Or yeah, otherwise, alternatively, you can check this guy, Heroes 1. I think his windmill is pretty good. Some of the tutorials are Japanese, but some of them are without audio. He's just showing, or he's pretty good. The only reason to not watch his tutorials is if you want to bounce the legs more. But actually here he just bounced the legs, so maybe in some of his tutorials he's also bouncing the legs. So yeah, he's the best example on how to do windmill. I send you my windmill in a sec. Okay. Have you seen Hero 10 windmill variation video? What are your thoughts on his form? I think it looks really smooth. Oh, let me check. I think I've seen, but I don't remember anymore. Hero 10. Oh, his first video. Let me see how he does the windmill. Yeah, pretty good form. He's using, I think, almost the same technique as me and Bestia. Head is on the floor, as you can see. Also in Hero 10 windmill, same as Bestia and same as me. Head on the floor, upper and middle back, and lower back up, hips up. Here, the way he catches is a little similar to me and Bestia. For Bestia and I, we just keep the arms a little wider. For him, he's keeping his arm a little bit more close together, but it's almost the same. Legs pretty wide. Yeah, basically the same form as me and Bestia. And also the arm, same like Bestia in the previous tutorial, like this. I also use the same form like this. Oh, let me see if I can find Pocket also. Pocket windmill or Pocket windmill tutorial. Maybe I should. Oh, he did also a windmill tutorial. Yeah, this is gonna be the last. It's gonna be short, just 2.5 minutes. Also, Pocket has a very clean windmill, in my opinion.
We'll teach you how to do windmill. Hope you enjoyed this video.
Oh, his English got much better. Now this video was pretty old, so his English. Oh, the quality is not good. I mean, the video quality is good, but the lighting is not good. You cannot see anything because everything is so dark, and his pants are dark also. You cannot really see so much. I hope they're gonna show with a little bit more lighting. Otherwise.
Firstly, your both leg must be straight. I will show you like that.
In my opinion, straight legs is not necessary. You can also bend your legs. The important thing is not that the legs should be straight, but that the legs should be wide. So the legs can be wide, but also bent, kind of like in a horse stance or in a squat, kind of like this. It doesn't matter if they are strictly straight like this or if they are a little bit like this. The important thing is not to do like this, you know, to not close the legs or to not scissor the legs like this. Just keep them wide. Doesn't matter if a little bit bent or a little straight, it's up to you, but wide.
Second tip, your hand must stay on the floor.
Thank you, Pocket, for saying that. Of course, if Pocket say that, maybe you can not trust me or maybe you can be skeptical of me, but if he say like this, he's so high level, trust him, please. Head on the floor.
For a whole time.
Oh, listen to this again, please.
Second tip, your hand must stay on the floor for a whole time.
For the whole time. Stay on the floor for the whole time. This is so important. Sorry, I'm gonna reduce the volume when there is the music because I'm a little bit afraid of copyright, you know. So yeah, you can clearly see also Hero 10. As you can see, very high level b-boys like Pocket and Hero 10, when they do windmills, they keep their head on the floor. So please trust them. If you don't want to trust me, trust them, you know. Don't worry about relearning a move, because relearning a move is so short. It's much longer if you are gonna try to fix a move that is already, how to say, mistaken. So try to learn from scratch. It will take so short time, you know. It's so short investment of time. And it's not like you need to relearn every detail of the move. Basically, you already know how to do the move. You just need to fix only one small detail that is gonna take very quickly if you just pay attention to it.
30, your low leg must be kicking hard, like kicking the ball.
yeah, the low leg should really swipe hard. This is especially if you want to do windmill with a lot of speed. The low leg, but actually both legs, not only the low leg. The low leg, but also the upper leg should kick very strong. His speed is crazy. Look how fast. Boom. Boom. This is also a very good exercise now that he's showing. So starting from the side freeze, from here or from the totter freeze, swinging, do a windmill and catch. And then swinging again, starting and catch. This is very useful to learn how to generate a lot of momentum with the starting kick. Yo, pico more.
If you follow this move, you can do rhythm like me.
I hope the windmill will be a little bit more clear. Unfortunately, we cannot really see so well. But you can kinda even hear from the sound. You don't hear any sound of the head touching the floor like this, you know? Because his head is just rolling. So the sound of his windmill is very smooth. It's like shh, like this. It's not like tong, 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 like this, you know? You don't hear any sound almost. You only hear shh, shh, like this. And this is how the windmill should sound. If the windmill sounds like this, you're doing it, probably you're doing it correct. So focus on the sound again. Oh, I hope there's no copyright issue. This is the correct sound of a windmill. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, let me know in the comments what else you want me to react next time. Other tutorials, other type of videos, anything, let me know. And now I will close the live stream. I will also stream on Twitch and on Kick, but I will not stream breaking. I will stream gameplay or reaction to other type of videos. So if you still want to follow, just follow me on Twitch or on Kick. The name is always the same, Kaio Falcro, the same name that I have on YouTube and on Instagram or all the other social media. And here on this channel at the moment, I will just react to breaking mainly. Maybe in future it can change, I don't know. But I will use the other channels to react to any other thing. And that's it. Please review my clip as the last thing of this stream and give me feedback. I cannot use Instagram here on my laptop, but as soon as I end the live stream, don't worry, I will react and I will write you my feedback. So don't worry. And yeah, see you next time. Thank you for watching, guys. Peace. Have a good day.